finding your way back to the truth. You could already feel it deep down. Your body knew something was wrong before your brain could even find the right words to explain it. It was that heavy, sinking feeling in your stomach that wouldn't go away. It was that tight, squeezing tension in your chest that made it hard to take a deep breath. You remember that specific moment when you saw the proof with your own eyes. The lie was so clear. It was right there in front of you. You looked at the person you cared about, and you hoped for something simple. You hoped they would be honest. You hoped they would say they were sorry, or at least show that they cared about how much they hurt you. But you didn't get that. Instead, you saw their face change. You saw them become cold and guarded. They looked like they were doing math in their head, trying to figure out how to get out of it. You saw the exact second they realized that you finally knew the truth. And instead of giving you the honest truth you deserved, they gave you a performance. Instead of taking responsibility for what they did, they started a war. If you have ever walked away from a talk where you knew you were right, but you ended up feeling like you were going crazy, this is for you. Please stay with me. This is for you because we are going to use simple words for things you have lived through but maybe never had a name for. It is important to know that there are caring people here who want to help you understand these hard things. We are here to support you as you learn more. There is something many people do not understand about people who are very self-centered or what some call narcissists and the way they feel guilty. They do feel something, but it is not what you think. They feel the scary threat of being caught. It is not a healthy kind of guilt. It is not that quiet voice inside that says, I did something wrong and I need to fix it. Instead, they just feel the pressure of being found out. In their mind, doing something wrong is not a chance to make things better. To them, it is a big danger. It is like a bright light shining on the parts of themselves they tried to hide. They work very hard to keep up an image of being perfect. When they realize you have found a crack in that image, their whole system goes into an emergency mode. What you saw was not just them being confused or being bad at telling the truth. It was a big wall coming up to protect them. The question in their mind is never, how can I fix this relationship? Their only question is, how do I make this whole problem disappear right now? The big no. The first thing they do is tell you it never happened. This is not just them forgetting or being a little confused. This is a total 100% no. You might have the pictures on your phone. You might have the notes they wrote. You might have people who saw it happen, but they will still look you in the eye and say, no, that never happened. You are just imagining things. You are making that all up. This is so hard because they aren't just lying about a fact. They are attacking your own mind. They want you to stop believing what you saw with your own eyes. They want you to stop trusting your own brain. When they deny things that are clearly true, they aren't trying to find the real story. They are trying to force you to spend all your energy defending yourself. Suddenly you aren't talking about what they did anymore. You are stuck arguing about basic facts. You find yourself trying to prove the sky is blue. While you are busy trying to prove you aren't crazy, they are sneaking out the back door so they don't have to be responsible for their actions. Two, pointing the finger. As soon as saying no doesn't work anymore, they turn the light on you. They stop talking about the lie or the mean thing they did. They start talking about you. They tell you your voice was too mean. They say you are acting too emotional. They claim they only lied because you are too bossy or too distant. They say they had to hide things because you are too needy or too cold. Suddenly, the reason they hurt you becomes about your personality or your mistakes. This is how they move the heavy weight of being wrong off of their shoulders and put it onto yours. This works on you because you are a good person with a conscience. When someone says you did something wrong, you actually stop and think about it. You wonder if maybe they are right. You want to be a better person. But the other person uses that goodness against you. Your wish to grow and learn becomes the ladder they use to climb out of trouble. 3. The box of old mistakes. When you try to talk about one thing they did today, they suddenly bring up every mistake you have ever made in your whole life. They talk about something that happened 3 years ago. They talk about a time you were late for dinner or a time you were having a really hard season and struggled. The point is not to be fair. The point is to overwhelm you. They want to bury the truth under a huge pile of old problems until you can't see the original issue anymore. You came to the talk with one clear thing to say, and they turned it into a flood that knocks you off your feet. When you are just trying to keep your head above water, you can't hold on to the truth you came to talk about. 4. Using anger to scare you. This is a very important thing to understand. When they know they are guilty, they often get very, very angry. This is not just them losing their temper. It is a tool they use. It might feel like a big, scary explosion that makes no sense. But the message is very clear. It says, if you keep asking me about this, I am going to make things very hard for you. It is a way to bully you into being quiet. It teaches you that asking questions leads to pain. It teaches you that talking about the truth is a dangerous place to be. Over time, many people in these relationships just stop bringing things up. They keep their thoughts to themselves. They tell themselves the problem isn't a big deal. That is not because you are weak. It is because you have been trained to stay quiet, to stay safe. Your body has learned that silence feels safer than the truth. That is exactly what they wanted you to learn. 5. Acting like the hurt one. If getting angry doesn't make you stop, they might start crying. Suddenly, the person who hurt you is talking about their own pain. They talk about their hard childhood, their big stresses, or how lonely they feel. Suddenly, you are looking at someone who seems like they are the one who is deeply hurt. Because you are a kind and caring person. You want to help them. Empathy is a beautiful thing that makes us want to comfort people who are sad. But they use this to move your pain into a corner. Their feelings take over the whole room. You came in to talk about what they did to you, and now you are the one saying sorry and trying to make them feel better. This is not an accident. It is a powerful way for them to get away with what they did. It turns the person who was hurt into the one who looks mean, and the person who was mean into the one who looks hurt. The long game of confusion. We also have to talk about how they slowly make you doubt your own mind. This is a pattern that happens over a long time. It is not just one talk. It is the way they always say you are too sensitive or that you remember things wrong. They might say, I am worried about you because you never remember anything the right way. Each little comment seems small, but when you hear them every day, you start to doubt yourself. You start to pause when you should be trusting your gut. That is why you questioned yourself even when you knew you were right. That is why you would think about a talk for hours and hours, wondering what happened. You weren't born confused. You were taught not to trust yourself. The doubt was put there on purpose. When the big truths finally came out, you were already so unsure of yourself that it was hard to stand up for what you knew was real. 7. Being nice again. After the fighting, the anger, and the tears, they suddenly become very sweet again. They are kind and they listen. They start doing the nice things you always wanted them to do. In that moment, it can feel like the person you love has finally come back. But when they have done something wrong, this kindness is not about fixing the problem. It is about erasing it. It is meant to make you forget the bad stuff. It is a way to make you think, maybe it wasn't that bad after all. This is why it is so hard to leave. Every time they are nice, it feels like evidence that maybe this time will be different. I am not telling you this to make you feel bad. I am telling you this so you can see the pattern. Hope is often what keeps people in these hard places. You hope the good moments are the real person and the mean moments are just a mistake. But in this system, the kindness is just another part of the circle. 8. The first strike. Sometimes they can tell you are getting close to the truth. They sense you might be ready to leave or name what is happening. So they move first. They accuse you of doing something wrong before you can say anything to them. They might tell your friends or family that you are the one who is being difficult or mean. They start telling a story that makes them look like the good one before the real story even gets out. They care a lot about what other people think. Their reputation is everything to them. When they are scared of being caught, they don't just fight with you in the house. They try to control what everyone else thinks too. You might have noticed them suddenly acting very cold or suspicious of you for no reason. It feels like you are being punished for something you didn't even do. That confusion has a job. If they can keep you feeling hurt and off balance, you won't be able to stay calm and clear. And a person who is calm and clear is much harder for them to control. Understanding these steps changes everything. Once you see that these aren't just random moments, but a whole plan, your story starts to make sense. You are not being too sensitive. You were not going crazy. You were inside a system designed to protect someone else's ego while breaking your reality. Here's a hard truth. Some of the nice times might have been real. Some of the connection might have been true in that moment. Most people aren't 100% evil all the time. They are often broken people who are very afraid and full of shame. That doesn't make it okay that they hurt you. It doesn't fix the damage. But it helps answer that painful question. Was any of it real? Parts of it might have been, but those parts weren't strong enough to stop the parts that wanted to control you. You can love someone and still be hurt by them. You can have good memories and still know the relationship was bad for you. Both can be true at the same time. You don't have to tear yourself apart trying to decide if everything was fake or everything was real. The better question to ask is this: what was the main pattern of the relationship when things really mattered? If the answer is denial, anger, and making you feel crazy, then that pattern is the real truth. This is where your power comes back to you. You don't get your power back by winning a fight or getting them to say they were wrong. You get it back through clarity. This is a quiet, steady kind of knowing. It is the kind of knowing that doesn't need the other person to agree with you. You know what happened even if they never admit it. You stop asking the person who lied to you to tell you the truth. That clarity was always there inside you. It was just buried under all the noise of their anger and their lies. Your body was always telling you the truth. That sinking feeling and that tight chest were not weaknesses. They were information. Now you have the words for it. You know what it means when they say it never happened. You know what it means when they try to blame you. You know what the anger is trying to do. You know why they act like the victim. You have a map now. You aren't lost in the dark anymore. The pain might not go away today. You might still have hard nights. Healing takes time. But understanding gives you a solid ground to stand on when you start to doubt yourself again. Instead of getting pulled back into their story, you can say to yourself, I know what happened. I know how this worked. These tricks don't define my life anymore. That is where real strength comes from. It is the strength of someone who was hurt, but searched for the truth and found it. It is the strength of someone who decided to never leave themselves behind again. That is what you are doing every time you choose to understand instead of blaming yourself. The person who is guilty is counting on one thing. They are hoping you will get too tired to keep looking for the truth. They are hoping the confusion and fear will wear you down until you just give up and accept their lies. They want you to think it's easier to bury your truth than to protect it. But you are still here. You are still asking questions and looking for answers. That means their plan didn't work. You haven't given up on yourself. The moment you stop asking what is wrong with me and start asking what is the pattern, everything changes. You stop carrying weights that were never yours to hold. You stop measuring your worth by a story someone else wrote to make themselves look good. You are going back to the part of you that knew something was wrong even before you had the words to say it. That part of you was never broken. It was just overwhelmed. The people who hurt you knew they were guilty. They used every trick in the book to keep from facing it, but their system cannot stand up against your understanding. You became dangerous to their lies the moment you started learning how they work. Even if your clarity feels a little shaky right now, it is growing. Every time you trust your own eyes, every time you name a trick for what it is, and every time you choose yourself, you are getting stronger. One day you will notice that things feel different. It won't be a big loud change. It will be a quiet, peaceful feeling inside. You will realize that you trust yourself again. The voice inside you that tells you when something is wrong will be a voice you listen to, not a voice you argue with. That is what healing is. It is the path that leads you all the way back home to yourself. When you start to listen to that small, quiet voice inside, you begin to see the world in a new way. You realize that your feelings were never the problem. Your feelings were your compass. They were pointing you towards safety all along. It takes a lot of courage to face the truth when someone you love is trying to hide it. It takes a lot of heart to keep believing in yourself when you have been told you are wrong for so long. But you are doing it. You are finding your way through the fog. Each step you take toward the truth is a step toward freedom. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need to keep trusting what you know is real. As you move forward, remember that you are not alone. There are others who have walked this path and found their way back to the light. Your story is not over, and the truth is the foundation you are building your new life on. It is a foundation that is strong, honest, and truly yours. You are learning to protect your heart while keeping it open to the people who actually deserve to be there. This is your journey, and you are doing a brave thing by seeking the truth. Be gentle with yourself as you heal. You are coming back to the person you were always meant to be,